Humans explored the moon before I was born, but I still recall the childhood moment when this photo shattered a limitation that changed my life forever. The next time I looked at the moon, I knew there were human boot prints right where I was looking. I also knew I wanted to explore. I wanted to leave this planet and look back upon it. Now, this early astronaut portrait was a good start, wouldn't you say? I have to credit my parents. I mean, they really nailed this family trip. But I didn't stop there. I made the necessary modifications to my treehouse, a control column from a piece of wood, old circuit breakers for switches, dials made from cardboard and popsicle sticks. It even had a panoramic view of the stars, planets, and moon, sketched fairly poorly across the rough, uneven surface of the plywood wall in crayon. But it was a great treehouse. And my friends and I went on many great missions. In my childhood innocence, I was free to explore without limits. But as with all of us, as life wore on, limits crept in. Limits that start to stifle the pursuit of excellence. Limits that hold you back. But now as I embrace my challenge and my dream of exploring space, the real privilege for me is the perspective I'm gaining. And it is this perspective I would like to share with you because it frees me from limitation. My fellow explorers, we are all on a great journey of exploration. And I have to tell you, it's getting pretty interesting. In fact, I would hazard to say that science is giving science fiction a run for its money these days. The things we are learning can free you from self-imposed limitation and open up endless possibilities. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start here. The first thing we need as explorers, of course, is a ship. Will this do? This, of course, is a great ship, one of the best we've ever imagined. But I'm talking about something much grander. I'm talking about Spaceship Earth. Our mission aboard this ship intrigues me. First, there is the journey of this ship and the adventures of its crew thus far. And second, operating this ship is a real challenge because we've ended up on this ship without operating instructions or technical drawings. And third, our destination and our destiny remain a mystery. Now, so far, we've determined this ship is made of rock. It's covered largely by water, and it's surrounded by the tiniest bubble of air that keeps us alive. And it's hurtling through space around our closest star, the sun, along with 8 other planets. And I hope you don't mind me saying 8 other planets, but I am just not willing to let go of Pluto. Our Earth has an amazing magnetic shield. In addition to protecting us from violent solar storms and letting the sun's life-critical energy in, it provides some of the most spectacular light shows for our ship's inhabitants. And our ship has the most ingenious air and water recycling system ever designed. And it makes our ship a home for millions of unique species of life. Now, granted, our ship has suffered some wear and tear over the years, largely due to us, the 7 billion human inhabitants aboard now. And to make matters worse, it is completely vulnerable to collisions with passing asteroids. And there are no escape pods. This ship is it, for now at least. Yes, our ship has some limits. But from my perspective, our problem is not the issues that our ship has. Our problem is the limitations that we place on ourselves. We are 7 billion strong. Yet we limit ourselves with the thought, the restriction that we're separated by geography, culture, and language. And there are examples of great suffering aboard this ship. Suffering that stems from our failure to respect and value one another. But there is reason for great hope. Our worldwide communication system is online now. It enables collaboration like never before. We're already harnessing this cooperation. We have come together to build the most incredible orbiting laboratory in history, the International Space Station. For over 14 years, humans have been living, working, and learning together in low Earth orbit. from countries all around the world. Canada's contribution is Canadarm2 and its two-handed sidekick Dexter. And they work together as the station's robotic handymen. And while they look really great on the back of our new Canadian $5 bill, they represent much more. Cooperation, it cultivates excellence. What started out as a partnership for Canada to explore space became an opportunity to develop a robotic expertise that is now world-renowned. And that's the point. Cooperation drives excellence. We can accomplish more together than we can individually. Training to fly in space, albeit tremendously fun, with my international partners has taught me to see through the perceived limitations of language and culture. In space, Canadian astronauts work side by side with colleagues from around the world, Europe, Japan, Russia, United States, and surely this is just the beginning. We work hard to understand each other. We share information. In fact, we stake our very lives on the success of this international cooperation. The 7 billion of us can work together, and when we do, there is no limit to what we can accomplish. Now, I said there were two limitations that we place on ourselves. The first one is we're still learning to work together. But the second limitation are the limits we place on ourselves. We have a habit of limiting ourselves or succumbing to limits others place on us. When I was in my treehouse, I was exploring space, and my imagination had no limits. But in real life, I was placing limits on myself. When it came to the contributions that I would make for the ship's progress, for the benefit of the ship, I had doubts. Doubts that the proverbial they had already thought of it, or they would do a better job. But working in the space program has taught me to leave such limits behind. The reality is, there is no they. There's only us. In fact, our team is composed of individuals who are determined to make a contribution and united by a common goal. And we set some big goals. We set goals so big that they demand excellence from each member of our team. They demand a contribution from each member of the team. And this is the point. This applies to all of us on our great ship. When my family sets out with our backpacks on a backpacking trip, there's an expectation that we will each carry our own weight to make the journey a success. When astronauts climb aboard a rocket on a great journey of exploration, there's an understanding that they will each make a contribution. And by doing so, they will achieve more than they could individually. They expect excellence. My fellow explorers, we're on a great journey of exploration, and it demands that you make a contribution. And you have a passion inside of you. You have a passion that drives your contribution. And we need that passion and that contribution because that will drive innovation to solve our problems. Imagine if we didn't innovate and explore. Imagine for a moment the limits we would still have. Up until 2,500 years ago, we believed the world was flat. It took another 1,000 years for us to free ourselves from the limitation that everything, including the sun, revolved around us. From that point forward, the scientific revolution was abandoning limits at an ever-increasing pace. But even still, until 100 years ago, we were limited to the ground, till we learned to fly. And this sparked a new generation of exploration, but more importantly, perspective. But no sooner had we made it in the air, we set a new limit, the sound barrier, an imaginary barrier humans would never cross, an outdated limit I routinely disregard in a CF-18 fighter jet. And for me, flying faster than the speed of sound has become a constant reminder of the benefits of pushing the limits. And with each shattered limit comes an even grander perspective. And perspective inspires. The Apollo program gave us this picture of our home from the furthest point of human exploration to date. Venturing out further into our solar system with the Cassini probe, we see ourselves from the perspective of Saturn, and we start to get a sense for our fragile existence in the cosmos. And this, the most distant photo we have of Earth, taken by the Voyager 1 probe, from 6.4 billion kilometers away. The pale blue dot hanging in the cold vacuum of space. That's amazing perspective. And we can't yet fly outside our own galaxy and turn around and take a picture of the Milky Way. But we can look at other similar galaxies, like this one, Andromeda. And if this were our galaxy, the Milky Way, our address would be out here in the suburbs. Just one tiny star amongst hundreds of billions of other stars. Amazing. The Hubble Space Telescope recently peered deeper into our universe than ever before by observing a dark patch of our night sky, equivalent to what you would see by looking through a soda straw. In that one dark patch of our sky, we found over 10,000 galaxies. Images like this are leading us to estimate that our universe is now composed of over 100 billion galaxies, each containing over 100 billion stars. That's incredible, but it means nothing to you. Try this. This confirms that there are more stars in the universe than there are likely grains of sand on this planet. Now wrap your mind around that. That's some amazing perspective. And that's our perspective today. It's just going to get better. In 2018, NASA is launching the successor to the Hubble telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope. This is yet another example of international cooperation driving innovation. Canada will provide the Webb's guidance sensor to keep the telescope on target, and also one of the science instruments. But by placing the James Webb Space Telescope 1.5 million kilometers from Earth in the cold darkness of space, this telescope will observe objects thousands of times fainter than our telescopes today. Just imagine the things we are going to see. And by looking out at other galaxies, we're already learning amazing things. In fact, science has recently declared that our universe is made of 5% matter, 25% dark matter, and 70% dark energy. That's one of the craziest things I've ever seen or said. Now, the 5% matter, I understand. I mean, it's kind of what I thought the 100% was. I'm made of matter, you're made of matter, this room's made of matter, the air, the earth, the sun, every star, every black hole, everything we've ever observed is matter. And yet science is telling us now that's only 5% of the story. Now, the 25% dark matter, this is where it gets a little crazy. We've never observed it, but science infers its existence because it's required to account for the gravitational pull that holds our galaxies together. But if that assumption is correct, then dark matter is pervasive. It's everywhere. It's here. It's in this room. It's passing through you, me, right now, yet undetectable. I know what you're thinking. This is not the first time we heard of dark matter. First time was over 30 years ago when Obi-Wan Kenobi explained the Force to Luke. When he said, it surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds the galaxy together. I know why you're smiling too. I'm not the only one who checked to see if they were a Jedi Knight after watching Star Wars as a kid by trying to move objects with the Force. But just maybe we weren't crazy after all. And even if dark matter isn't our beloved Force, maybe dark energy is. Again, another substance. We've never observed it, but we infer its existence based on the fact our universe is expanding and accelerating, and something is driving that, and we don't know what it is, so we called it dark energy. Now, ask yourself this question. Have you been limiting yourself to the things you can sense? What other things are we limiting ourselves that just don't apply? Reading about quantum theory encourages me and inspires me to think with an open mind. Quantum experiments are promising revolutionary breakthroughs in computing power and secure communications. But have you stopped to ponder what else it might be telling us? Nobel Prize recipient Niels Bohr stated, anyone who is not shocked by quantum theory has not understood it. And I might add, I don't understand it, and I'm still shocked. Quantum entanglement experiments are being done that seemingly show an instantaneous reaction between two entangled particles, which would seemingly violate the current intergalactic speed limit of the speed of light. In these experiments, you take two particles, you entangle them by having them interact, and then you subsequently separate them by any distance, doesn't matter, let's say 100 kilometers. But in theory, it could be Earth and the other particles on Mars. And subsequently, when you observe one particle, the other instantaneously reacts. Crazy. And no one can explain this. In fact, Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Could this enable communication, instantaneous communication over vast distances in the future? Maybe. Could it lead us to traveling faster than the speed of light? Is it our warp drive for our ships? Could we explore other solar systems or other galaxies? It was my daughter who reminded me that science demands we consider all possibilities. One morning, she observed her brother enter his bedroom just as she entered hers. He immediately turned around and went to my room. My daughter missed that transition. She grabbed something from her room and followed me to my room, where she was shocked to find her brother. She exclaimed in absolute amazement, "Devin, you're in two places at once." I wouldn't allow myself to consider that possibility, but she could. What else are we limiting ourselves from? That is why we must explore, often to achieve specific objectives, but ultimately knowing there is more to be discovered in the things we didn't know to look for. History and science have shown us that all we can be certain of is that our current understanding is imperfect, and this is freedom to explore with renewed vigor. This is inspiration to harness your passion and make a contribution. As for me, I'm trading my treehouse for a real rocket as I embrace the challenges of exploration with the Canadian Space Agency. Your role will become obvious. Let your passion lead you. We require your contribution. If we are to understand and change the world around us, we need to start with ourselves. I urge each of you to think big, dream bigger, and explore without limits, because, my fellow explorers, you each have great value, and you are unlimited. Thank you.